So hi guys, how are you all doing? I hope you're in the best of health. I hope you're drinking water and minding your business. If you're new to this channel, my name is ENII Paul, and it's so very nice to meet you. I make content on student advice, medicine, lifestyle, and natural hair. In today's video, we're just gonna be talking about Mdcn, everything about Mdcn from my end that I can actually give out. It's so funny because I'm making this video a few hours to when my induction ceremony will hold, and if that video is already up, I'm going to leave it somewhere here. That's basically like a swearing in ceremony, for people who have passed the exams. So if you've been following my journey for a while, you would know that I sat for the exams in November of 2021. I traveled to Sokoto to have that exam and I didn't pass. And then I sat for the exams again in Ibadan in June of 2022. And thankfully this time I passed the exams, and that's why I'm able to, prepare and glam up for the induction ceremony and all of that good stuff. Now, where am I going with this? I just want to share some of the things I did differently. This video is going to be very, personal. Because it does take a lot of guts to self-analyze on camera, but yeah, that's by the way. So, first things first, I feel like I wasn't ready for the exams in terms of mentally. Like, I wasn't mentally ready to invest myself. I think I was still coming from a place where I was still, not too happy that I came to Nigeria. At the time when I came to Nigeria, like, no one wants to study abroad and then just come back here and start doing all of these things all over again. It kind of felt like, it didn't feel like a complete progress, because that's not the kind of progress I wanted at the time. And then, I got in to Nigeria on August the 1st, and the exams were going to be in November. And for the first month, I was learning driving. And I think I learned driving for about 3 weeks to a month, and so I wasn't studying or anything. So the whole of August gone. So I got to Abuja. I think it was August the 30th, and then I started classes on like the 1st of September and stuff, or it was around the first week of September. I can't really remember the exact dates, but when I started classes, I just asked, okay, which tutorials my friends were going to at the time, and they were going to Acemedix, and I'm like, okay, yeah, cool, you're going there, we'll go there and everything. And I feel like, because how like you have community effort, like your effort is better because you're around people that are putting in a lot of effort as well. So we wake up really early, go to class really early, sit at the front seats to make sure that anything on physical exams, anything really hands-on, and anything they wrote on the board, we would actually like see it because we're sitting close to the front of the class. And for me, like, reading is easy, so whether I revise or not, I will still remember some of the things that I've learned, that I've picked up. And I was like, okay, cool. I found out there were different sides to the exams, and then I started I wasn't revising. Now, at the time I had other things I was doing, and this is one of the things that I really want to touch on. So I will go to class, Acemedix classes where Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays. So I will go to class Monday, Wednesday and Friday, come back home, find something to eat, rest, maybe when I wake up, I'll write notes from the classes, or I'll start editing YouTube videos, because then I was still actively filming and actively editing videos for YouTube, because I didn't want to slow down on my consistency, because I was in Nigeria at the time. I felt like if this place just messed with my YouTube channel, I'll even be more pissed than I am being here already. I don't know if I'm making sense. So now I'm editing. After editing, I also had a job I was doing at the time. I was working as a customer support agent online, and apart from the fact that I needed the money, I just felt like, why should I give up my job because of an exam that I'm going to take? So I didn't give up the job, and I work the night shift. So I work from somewhere around 12 a.m. to 5 or 6 if I don't take a break, or to about 7 if I do take a break. So somehow I found a way to like fit all of that into my schedule, and then when I get to class, because I'm already doing all these other things, I would get tired quickly, I would get exhausted quickly, I'll stop assimilating, and I'll start feeling sleepy. Okay, so this is me still going for the classes, the Acemedix classes, and then the classes were like 3 hours long. I think it's from 10 to 1. So by 12, I'm already like tired out of it and everything. I'm really cranky and I want to go home. They used to encourage people to wait behind, practice their clerkings, counselings, physical exams, levels of prevention, and I didn't used to wait behind at first. I used to go home, and then towards the exam, you know, when you start feeling the tension of the exam, when the exam is actually like yeah, so towards that time I started to stay for the revisions, and my physical exams got really good. My clerking, the automatic style, because you learn an automatic style of clerking to pass this exam, so the automatic style got really good. I could ask the first 9 questions off the back of my head, like, ma'am, please, what's your name, what's your age, what's your tribe, your religion, your highest level of education, your occupation, your marital status. May I know what was your last menstrual period, how many pregnancies you've had, and how many pregnancies you've carried past 28 weeks. Ma'am, please, why are you here? When did it start? How did it start? Did it start slowly or gradually? Has it gotten better, worse, or remained the same? You know, so all of those type of questions, somehow I was able to just like cram all of that. And you see how I can ask all of these questions without even breathing properly. That's how good I'd gotten. Now, other than these things at the time, I don't think I was doing anything else. I was going for classes, I was actively editing and filming for YouTube, and I was working as a customer support agent. So I was doing 3 things. Other things happened in between, like I got hacked on my channel. It was just it was all over the place, okay? And I remember about 2 weeks to the exams. Now, this is me just going for Acemedix classes, and I didn't really do a lot of research. That's one of the things I want to point out. I didn't really do a lot of research because there weren't so many videos like this to share what to do, how to do. People come on here after they've passed and just share like the tutorials they use to help them and all of that. And for me, I would like to watch the journey. I would like to see, okay, just to it makes it easier to learn from you if I can relate with you. I don't know if this is making sense. So I didn't really see anybody I could relate with, and I don't think I even did research. Like, I don't think I even watched YouTube videos, which is wild because I'm a YouTuber. So I'm like, okay. And then we got to class one day, and one of the tutors was saying, oh, I hope you doctors are joining other like groups where they go through other questions. And I'm like, there are groups where they go through other questions. She's like, yes, the main Mdcn groups. And I'm like, we have main Mdcn groups? I was actually shocked. And she was like, yes, we have main Mdcn groups. And I had never heard about the main Mdcn groups. I was never added before that time. So I got home and started asking, and I found out like my other friends were in the groups. And I think because they were so like involved in preparing for themselves, they had just assumed that everyone was on the group. So they started to add me 2 weeks to the exams. I started to scroll up and see so many pictures I couldn't recognize. I started to panic. I started to panic read the guides. I remember reading about 8 chapters of ONG guide in like one evening when I was sitting, and I was just like, wow, I feel like I just filled my tank. Do you get? And this is me coming from a place of I wasn't even taking the MCQ, because Acemedix does this thing here where like you have like the classes, the hands-on classes where you come Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays, and then they have Tuesdays and Thursdays where you answer like MCQ questions that they post on the group. And then you still have like Saturdays where you have like a mini group, like unit studies. So they kind of group us into units by colors. Okay, so I think then I was in navy. Color navy, but there were people in gray, people in purple. So it was just, color coded units to study, to revise everything that we learned for the week. My unit was not very consistent, and I didn't try to push for my unit to be consistent because I at the time had other things I was doing, and I was like, yeah, if they're not studying, that's more time for me to rest and get myself together. Now, when I found out there were more Mdcn groups and I started to panic, I had to start intensifying like how I was studying. That's when I started studying more at night, because that was the best time for me to assimilate. And because I was studying at night, I would feel sleepy again during the day, and I'm studying and working at the same time. So it was a really hard time because everything was falling to pieces. My eating cycle, sleeping cycle, my weight, everything was falling to pieces at the time. I just wanted to write this exam, pass, and then post on my YouTube channel that year I passed, even though I was doing this and this and this and this. Like I was juggling all of these things, because I don't think I had ever shared the fact that I had an online job apart from YouTube with you guys at the time. Okay, so now I remember going to Sokoto, I think 2 days to the exam. 2 days I got there, and obviously I arrived there in the afternoon because logistics, they moved the time, everything. So that day was already gone. I used that day to rest. The next day I used it to find my venue, like where's my venue for the exam and everything, and then I found it, and I'm like, okay, cool. Before I would find like people who are staying in the same hotel as me to revise with and everything, the day's already gone. So it was more like I was able to revise with my roommates, and now I'm kind of glad we had each other at the time, because we won't like, that's the only motivation around us that we really had. The rest of our friends had gotten there earlier, and I feel like because they've gotten there earlier, they most likely will have made more study networks, so they would have been at the study places and they would have been kicking it off really well. I don't know if I'm making sense. So now the second time, first off, after I had found out I failed, God, I can remember that day so well. We were eating, we were going for dinner, we were tired of waiting. We had prayed the whole day, we had fasted, and we're just expecting like success. And we went into the the diner of the guest house at the time that we're staying in, and we're eating. I think we're at the we're at Dyson Hotel, Dyson Guest House or something like that, and we're eating rice and stew, and someone screamed from the building. Someone literally screamed like ah, and I looked I looked at my roommate. I'm like, it's like oh my god, it's like results are out. So we checked our phones, and truly results were out, and when I went through the results, actually I didn't even know, like I feel like I didn't even know how things worked around here, because when I now opened the results, it was more like a form. It looks like an Excel spreadsheet, okay? So you see serial number, exam number, candidate's name, and pass or fail. Like, those are the columns you see. And then I started from the first column. This is me looking for my name. So I started from the first column, and I'm like, oh my god, thank god. I would see my friend's name, I'll be like, oh my god, Tosin passed, thank god. Oh my god, Kosi passed, thank god. Asobi, glory. I think I'd gotten to like the fifth name when my roommate was like, okay, you found everyone, you're finding everyone else's name, look for your own name. Like, that's how she said, like, look for your own name. So I scrolled to like where my name's supposed to be. I'm like, okay, I wasn't saying my exam number and I wasn't saying my name. I'm like, I told her I'm not saying my name. And she was like, are you sure? And I remember scrolling to the bottom of the list, and I said, maybe it's at the bottom of the list. Like, I told her, I said, maybe my name is at the bottom of the list. And I scrolled to the bottom of the list. I couldn't find my name, so I couldn't find my name. I couldn't find her name. And I'm like, what? I couldn't find some of my friends' names, like, you know? And I just, we stopped eating, and we didn't cry like inside of the diner and everything, but I feel like we're first off, we went through different stages of grief, but we shared the first stage. We both went through denial. So I remember saying, this is not the list, like, this is not the complete list, and somehow that list never got revised. So even when I was talking to my friends that knew that I was sitting for an exam, I was like, this is the list, my name is not on it, I hope they revise it, but if they don't, I didn't pass. Like, I remember sending this message to Aisha, to Kennedy. It was just a downtime. So after not passing, I first off wanted to change all of my plans, you know, stop doing everything that made me happy, stop doing YouTube. And I was like, I had filmed all these videos for YouTube at the time, so, of my journey, you know, what the mock exams for Acemedix looked like, when we're registering for the exams and things like that. And somehow I just thought, okay, let me share the journey still, because I mean, if I had passed, I would share anyways. So I posted all of it. After failing in November, I posted everything, the whole journey to failure in December. And then I stopped posting altogether in January. I filmed videos in February, and before I started posting them again, Ukraine was under attack. So again, my mental health was poop. Okay. Now, when I decided in February I was going to take these exams again, and when I first off decided this time, because the first time why I was writing the exams the first time was my dad was like, okay, just write the exams, you know, you're in Nigeria already, so just write it. Now, there are people that this works for, but again, you need to have the right mind too, and you need to decide to write this exam to write and pass. So I the second time, after deciding I was going to write the exams again, I wanted to do everything different. My job as a customer support agent. My contract had already ended in January, and I didn't have that job or that sort of income anymore. So apart from the fact that I now had to be on a budget and things were tighter for me, I still wanted to do everything differently, and that meant that I'd had more time to study. So in January, I started looking for hospitals where I could do an observership program, because Mdcn was pushing an agenda in December, the month right after I had failed, that they wanted doctors, foreign trained doctors, to do 6 months worth of observership training in some designated Nigerian hospitals and pay a certain amount of money, which was almost $1 million at the time. It was about 900,000 naira plus 10,000 for registration, and then you get there and handle your accommodation and feeding and things like that. So I felt like that money was a lot, and the idea was not a bad idea, but the fact that I would be doing this for 6 months, that's half a year, and an observership alone will not help you pass the exams. There's still things you need to sit and study. There's still things you need to see in a book that they won't teach you. So I was like, no, 6 months is a long time. Let me look for a place where I can, let me look for a place where I can apply for 3 months and, pick up 1 or 2 skills. So now I started applying, I started looking for places. I ended up finding a hospital, and then I started going, and the hospital was so far from home. I literally had to travel there and travel back every day, and I got tired. I actually got tired. I think at one point I just started sleeping in the call room in the hospital, because I just got to this point where I started thinking, if it takes blood, if it takes sweat, if it takes tears, I'm going to give it all of these things and just see. Hopefully it will make a difference this time. So I did that, and see, guys, when I tell you that the observership helped me, it helped me in the sense that I became more confident, more assertive. There were things that I wasn't able to read, but just by seeing my seniors do them, I could just tell, it's something I could recreate. And when I saw clinical questions in the exam, it just helped me. Do you understand? So now, while I was doing the observership, I joined Acemedix again, but I wasn't able to go to Acemedix Abuja at this time, so I went to Acemedix Lagos. And I remember after the first 2 classes, I was so angry with myself. I was like, why did I pick Acemedix again? And this is not to diss or promote anything. I'm just sharing my story and what I did differently with doctors who want to know, or doctors who want to write and pass this exam, or doctors who are just interested, or people that are interested in my journey. So I just So after the first 2 classes in Acemedix Lagos, I was like, they're teaching us the same thing again. They're teaching us the exact same things. And already, I wasn't even attending the MCQ questions sessions. I wasn't attending the MCQ question sessions, and I wasn't going back to read the MCQ. So it's not like, oh yeah, you're not in class and you're going to rework your class. I wasn't reworking the class that I missed for the MCQ sessions because I felt they were not important. So after joining Acemedix Lagos the second time, I felt angry. Okay, first off, the reason why I joined Acemedix Lagos was I felt like because Acemedix was so good in Abuja, it would be the same thing in Lagos. And in Lagos, there are not so many people in class. People are avoiding Lagos traffic. They're avoiding spending money. So most of them will be online rather than come to the center maybe you start seeing people in Acemedix Lagos in like 6 weeks, 8 weeks to exams. That's when a lot of people start to come out. So I had joined because I felt like, yeah, the problem was not with Acemedix, the problem was with me, and I wanted to learn again and pass, and then share my story with everybody. So after joining and noticing they were teaching the exact same things, I felt angry because I felt like I could have done better. But at the time, there were not a lot of tutorials. There are not a lot of tutorials in Lagos, like, except tutorials that are just opening up, because there are a lot of tutorials that are just opening up right now. So I ended up still going for my Acemedix and still doing my observership program. So I would take excuse from my senior doctors, go for Acemedix, come back, finish the working day with my observership with the hospital I was observing at, go to the call room and revise. Now, at some point, I felt like I needed a push. I wanted to do things differently. I joined another tutorial, and this one was handled by a certain Dr. Godsent. From what I was getting, because at the time he was sharing that he's targeting people that have written this exam before, so it would be like a form of revision for them. So I was like, okay, cool. And the first 2 weeks with that class was so good. I was like, yes, I'm getting value for my money. But after the 2 weeks, I think he started to pack on a lot more students that had not taken the exam before. So then he started teaching from scratch, and I didn't need that. Do you understand? So I started looking for something else, because again, I wanted to push myself. I wanted to pass. So I joined another tutorial. Mind you, all of these things were costing me money. I joined another tutorial. Now, joining this next tutorial, this is the Focus Plus Academy that I had spoken about before. This is not an ad, but I'm just speaking about a service that I enjoyed and that works for me. So I'd spoken to one of their facilitators in early January, and he was like, yeah, the classes are online, they have a hands-on one in Ife, what. But he didn't really sound encouraging. You know how when you talk about something like it's a business and you make me want to buy into your business, he didn't try to sell it to me, he just told me the facts. So when I joined the Focus Plus Academy, before I joined them actually, I had taken 2 of their mock examinations, and I failed both of them. And I didn't feel like borderline fail, 150 over 300 fail. No, I failed well. God, I'm still tearing up from sharing this my story. But yeah, I didn't feel borderline fail. I failed well. I failed like 63, 60 over 200, 70, that kind of fail. And I was so mad at myself and so pissed, because even though the environment where I was taking the exam wasn't conducive or quiet enough, I was taking the exam while I was in the hospital, sleeping in the call room. Even though I wasn't in their tutorial, registered in the Focus Plus Academy, I felt like I have taken this exam before. I should have some knowledge from the time when I had sat for the exams before, plus what I'm reading right now. Why am I not seeing that progress reflect in my scores? Because again, I had paid for 2 different mock exams because I wasn't registered in the tutorial. If I was registered in the tutorial, then I wouldn't need to pay to take those mock exams. Do you understand? So now I messaged one of their facilitators. Shout out to you, Dr. Edo. I don't know if you're going to watch this or see this, but yeah, I messaged him and I said, honestly, sir, when I saw my scores, I felt very bad. I felt like I'm not seeing results that equate with how much work I'm putting in. And I haven't registered for this June exam yet. So I've started having second thoughts about registering later this week, as I had earlier planned. It's even affecting my participation today because I came to Acemedix tutorial and my assimilation is slow, too slow even, because I remember that day I felt so bad. I'm mentally and emotionally tired. I even cried this morning after mock. I feel like a joke. So he asked when we can talk, and somehow I was even in Acemedix class at the time. We were learning pathographs. I took excuse, came out, and we spoke on the phone, and he encouraged me. He basically analyzed what he thought the issue was, because I think from his experience with teaching, in just a few minutes to a few classes or just in a class, he can already tell where you need to intensify, where you need to put more work into. So he was like, okay, he thinks my problem is knowledge and consolidating that knowledge, because it's not like I'm not reading, I'm reading, but I'm not revising or doing questions based off what I read or teaching others what I've read. So most of the times remembering it is difficult. So after meeting someone that gave me a free analysis of my problem like that, I was like, okay, I'm joining this tutorial. I am going to join this tutorial today so that I don't have to pay for their next mock exam. That's what I thought in my head. And I ended up joining the Focus Plus Academy. Now when I joined, it was too much for me. I'm not even going to lie. Too much in the sense that it was so intense, and I kept wondering what is happening here. Is this not for Mdcn exams? Is it for another exam we're reading for? I kept trying to catch up. So I remember for the first 4 classes, I was just like, God, that big. That's exactly how I would come to class every day, because it's online, but I kid you not, it's not one of those classes you can just join and then get in the shower and get busy and feel like nobody's going to cashier or something, nobody's going to make you speak. I can say for a fact, and the thing is, Focus Plus, they have free classes. So if you join the free classes, they will make you speak, even as an outsider coming in to visit them, or even as a visitor. Do you understand? So I kept noticing that, oh yeah, these people kept picking up on me, most especially on my weak points, and somehow those points were no longer weak for me. One of the first things that I noticed really changed was my approach to how I answered questions, because my first, apart from the knowledge deficit, apart from the consolidation strategy I needed to improve, I also wanted to work on MCQ strategy, because I had a problem there. Because I remember being in Sokoto, sitting in front of the computer and wondering, oh my God, what is happening here? Why am I seeing this type of questions? Why am I seeing this type of questions? I remember sitting in Sokoto and just wondering, oh my God, what is happening in here, in the MCQ place? So when I joined Focus, and the people that teach there are resident doctors, in Nigeria. So they set the questions and the mock examinations like the Mdcn doctors will set them. So I kept wondering, is this for Mdcn, or are we beginning to write primaries and part 1 exams, exams for residency and things like that? And the doctors, because they're so specialized in these things and they're good teachers and they enjoy teaching, they always break everything down. Do you get? So at some point, I noticed the first thing that changed was my confidence level started to improve. And I feel like your confidence goes up when your knowledge goes up. So my confidence level started to improve. First off, the hesitancy I used to feel before I attempt an MCQ question started to dissipate. Do you understand? And then another thing that I noticed, apart from the fact that every other thing, to pass this exam, you need diligence, discipline, and God, I had this thing in my head, but I've lost it. But you need to be diligent, disciplined, and consistent. So I noticed for the discipline side of things, after class, if there was something I didn't understand, I would reach out to people that understood it and they would explain it to me. Okay. For the consistent thing, Focus Plus Academy has classes 2 times a day. 2 times a day. I promise you, it is so draining, but you just have to keep at it, okay? And then for the diligent thing, I changed. One of the things I noticed then was my routine started to change. So I started to wake up earlier so that I can be dressed and have had breakfast before I join the focus class. After focus class, immediately focus class is ending, I'm on the way to join Acemedix on ground at the center. Immediately I'm done from Acemedix, maybe I'm back to the hospital, because I joined everything together when I was in the last few days of my observership. So I'll come back from my observership, and then on the days where we won't have Acemedix class, right after Focus Academy, I will go to the coffee shop to meet up with my reading partners. Shout out to you, Rookie and Precious, if you guys are watching this video. So yeah, I will go to the coffee shop to go and study, like to go and read. Now, focus classes will start maybe somewhere around 7 or 8 and finish around 10 or 11. From that time, it will take me about 30-45 minutes to get to the coffee shop because of traffic. From the time I get to the coffee shop, I will be there till 8 p.m. Any breaks you're going to take, any food you're going to eat is going to be part of your break. Everything you're going to do is going to be in that coffee shop. So at some point, they knew us in that coffee shop. They knew we were coming every other day to study. We started to do physical exams in that coffee shop. Like, it was, I feel like at that point, all we were seeing was these exams and just we wanted to crush it. Like, we needed to pass these exams. So I remember, like, some days we would finish from focus, finish from Acemedix on ground and be running to the coffee shop, like literally going. This is minus how much money we have spent on all these tutorials, minus the money we're spending on transport. We're going to get to the coffee shop and buy maybe a burger or a meat pie or some coffee to drink for energy while we're reading, and we're going to have our next focus class in that coffee shop. Do you get? So a lot of things changed for me in terms of what my routine was looking like. I was so tired, I was sleeping. Anytime I got back to the hospital, to the call room, this is me that I used to be awake at night and start sleeping by 2 p.m. from when I was in med school. I started sleeping like 12, 11 because I will be so tired, I can't do anything else. I just have to sleep and wake up early the next day. So I noticed that I didn't get a lot of time to revise in between the class. I would come back from the coffee shop and I would be so tired. And there was a time when we could no longer go to coffee shops and stuff because it was so close to the exam period. So I started to study at home. So we would get on an online call. Okay, so first off, your routine will change, your approach to the exam and everything will change. You would intensify your efforts on your weaknesses once you take note of what your weaknesses are or what you did differently. Another thing, apart from the fact that I started to make friends with a lot of other doctors, I started to pick up materials from other tutorials. So apart from Acemedix, apart from the Focus Plus Academy, I picked up materials from MedScholar, I picked up some materials from NeatMed. And I had a friend recommend MedScholar. She said MedScholar is really good. So yes, that's another recommendation for you. For NeatMed, I don't really know. I know some doctors that use the place, but I didn't really ask them in detail what the classes are like. So I'll come home, we'll get on an online call, we'll talk. We can be on the call for like 5 hours straight, just analyzing questions, you know. And then I started to look through those MCQ questions on the Mdcn group. Now, on getting into the exam, how these things played out for me. This is minus all the prayers, minus all the fasting and everything, guys, because that one too is very, very necessary. When I got into the exams, I remember when I was going to take the MCQs, lots of people had sent me prayers. People had prayed for me, powerful prayer points, guys. And then I got into the exam hall and I was going through the questions and I was like, somehow these questions looked like the Focus Plus Academy questions. So I was just like, let's just be, let's just keep at it. So like, let's just finish first, like, because I didn't want to like push my luck or anything. So I wasn't even vlogging properly that period because I was struggling with space as well. And then after that MCQ day, the next day was OSCE day. And when I was going to the OSCEs, I almost broke down and cried. My digestive system was a mess. I wanted to start maybe purging, farting. I don't even really know. But something was happening to my intestines. And I was very nervous. But then I remember, like, the first station was a physical exam station. My next station was a counseling station. And because during my observership, I had gotten to counsel a lot of people, practice with my senior doctors, different types of counseling. In fact, one of the counselings I practiced with my senior doctors and at the Focus Academy came out, it was on contraception. So I did that. And I remember, like, the OSCE stations were kind of, they were chilled, they were easy. I just was like, I remember, and the good thing for me was, in my levels of prevention, I had learned how to do levels of prevention from someone who was taught by med scholar. So when I added my Focus Plus Academy knowledge, plus my Acemedix knowledge, plus my med scholar knowledge, like, that station was just a done deal for me. So that's why now I'm currently a tutor at Acemedix. I won't say I'm having the best experience so far, because things are different now that I'm a teacher and I'm collecting their money. Yeah, things are very different, and now I can tell why, like, teachers are not giving their 100 to students that come to sit for the exams. But again, just joining one tutorial and not revising and not mixing or making friends or reading extra questions or practicing questions from the Mdcn groups and things like that is a journey to self-sabotaging yourself. Do you understand what I mean? So I still want to use this opportunity. Today is my induction day, and honestly, this wouldn't have been possible without a lot of people, like without my tutors, especially from the Focus Plus Academy, without the doctors that I had met during my observership program that encouraged me, made me counsel patients, made me physically examine patients, made me clerk patients. Like, it took a whole village to get to this point, and I honestly don't take that for granted. Like, honestly don't take that for granted. Now, if you're sitting for these exams again, maybe you sat like 4 times, 5 times, and you're tired or you don't want to sit again, I strongly advise that you analyze what you did in, like, each of the exams that you took. Like, because first off, I don't even advise people to study for these exams from home. You would end up doing chores half of the times that you're supposed to be either studying, resting, or eating. Okay, and analyze everything you did. Go through the steps. Know where you could have done better, where you give a 50, where you can give 100, and all of those things, and try to switch things up. Apart from, like, praying, reading, and what. Find people that will push you. You need to be in a circle of people that want to see you succeed, that are genuinely looking out for your own interest. And I want to encourage you not to give up, because it's sad that exams are really not a true test of knowledge, but in this day and age, that is one of the ways to assess people that you meet in a second. Sad but true. Anybody I told that I failed this exam the first time would just assume I didn't read enough, or they won't know that, there's a part of me that didn't even understand the entirety of what I was getting into, and all of those kind of things. I hope you understand what I'm saying. So first off, take it easy on yourself. Try and rest. You've put in all that work just to find out that your efforts were not enough the first time, or the second time, or the 4th time. Try and rest. And after resting, decide that you want to pass. Do everything you did differently. Do it times 2, times 3, however times you can do it for. Like, it's better to spend money and join 5 tutorials and find the one that works for you than to save up money because you only have money for 2, but you joined one so you can have extra money. I hope this makes sense. At this point, I don't want this video to get too long. I should be getting to my induction place now, but I want you to know that anything and everything is possible. Anything and everything is possible. There's a spiritual side to this exam that, if you're a spiritual person, I remember praying one time and I saw my name. I saw 4. I saw my name and I saw pass. Just how that Excel spreadsheet thing is. And my prayer point changed to, God, even if there are only 4 people that will pass this exam, let me be number 4, what. But you know, when God does things, you don't really understand them. When I eventually passed, I'd forgotten what I had seen, you know. I'd forgotten it. And then one time when I was sharing my testimony with my neighbors, I now told them that, yeah, I saw my name, I saw 4, and I thought that was the serial number column. I saw my name and I saw pass. And now that I think about it in retrospect, my number was 464, and I saw 4, but I didn't see the rest of it. So I just assumed it will be only 4 people passing. So the 4-6 that I didn't see completed the whole thing that I had seen already. So apart from the fact that you settle things spiritually first, you have to put in a lot of hard work and grit. I remember so many times I kept on speaking out loud to myself, because it's easier to manifest something that's negative or evil than to manifest something that's good or positive. I would remember I would be in the library reading till like 2 a.m. And that's because the hospital I was doing an observership with at the time had a library. And I would just hear like a voice saying, oh, you know, this is the same thing we read the last time that you didn't pass. I will speak out loud and say, I am going to pass this exam. I am going to pass this exam this time. I rebuke you. I kept on saying that out loud. And now that I think about it, it was really hard during those periods, like 2 a.m. only me in the library, me speaking to like voices that I was hearing at the time. Like, so many things were just happening to me, guys. And I remember one of those days I made a YouTube video where I was like, yeah, I'm studying, and I was thanking everyone that was encouraging me, and I started crying, because you go through different emotions while you're preparing for these exams. Whether you are writing the first time, whether you're writing the 100th time, you will go through different emotions while you're writing the exam. Be prepared for the roller coaster. Find people that can encourage you. Like, find a support system, people that can pray for you, people that can hold your hand, people that can study with you. You need these 3 different types of people in your life. And I feel like now I'm able to share my journey and just speak about this passionately, because a lot of people have failed these exams and people don't really talk about, like, when I failed and I came online, I was looking for people that had failed, how they got back from like failure, and how they, you know, found their joy. And I couldn't find any videos on that. And now that I'm in this place and I'm privileged to be able to share my journey, I don't take it for granted. Do you understand what I'm saying? So be a light and find other lights that you can shine along with. Like, somehow your journey will make sense in the end. Another thing I want to say is, you see, the last 1 month to your exam is very crucial, because this second time I wasn't actively filming or editing. Yeah, I was still filming videos because I was vlogging for YouTube and stuff, but I wasn't editing videos. Every video that I put up, from the time when I made like a video on Amboss and things like that, every video that I put up, I had already filmed and edited and uploaded it and designed everything that concerned that video before that video, months before that video went up. I remember speaking to my accountability partner, and I was like, from April 16th, was it April 16th? I was no longer going to be editing. So every video you saw in May, every video you saw in the first week of June, I had already edited and uploaded all of those before May. They did cost me something, yes, it cost me watch hours. My channel is suffering on YouTube, and a lot of things could have gone better, but I thank God, because this exam is a hurdle that has gone, that I have jumped over for me. Do you understand? There are other things I'm looking towards in the future once I get into residency and things like that, but then again, those will be hurdles that I would have to sacrifice something for. So sacrifice whatever it takes. Again, if you're a spiritual person, I sowed seeds the first time in Sokoto and I didn't pass, and I sowed seeds again in Ibadan and I passed. So don't get tired of speaking, don't get tired of praying, don't get tired of sowing, don't get tired of waiting, don't get tired of reading, don't get tired of studying, and don't get tired of repeating every single step again. Okay, I don't know if this encouraged you enough or enlightened you. I got a request to share what I did differently and advice I don't want this video to be too long, but apparently it's going to have to be, because I want it to be very detailed for you. If you ended up enjoying this video, if this video motivated you, if somehow you got clarity or some form of wisdom from this video, please like this video, subscribe. I don't know what other type of videos you want me to put out concerning the journey to this exam, because I feel like I've put out so much already that you guys can see just how well, you know, things were, or just how wrong things were going or looking like they were going. Again, please be confident. Like, I cannot stress this enough. Be confident when you walk into your counseling, clerking stations, physical exam stations. You are the doctor. Every other person is going to listen to you. Even doctor when no get sense, if they call him doctor, other people go answer. Like, other people will listen to what he has to say. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. So just you are the doctor. You are the doctor. Like, have it at the back of you. You are the, like, nobody can tell you nonsense. Do you understand? So just do your thing. I'm really rooting for you. If you're writing this exam again, if you've written this exam before, if this is your first time, honestly, it is easier to pass the first time than to resit. But if you're resitting, you have the advantage of experience. Do not let it, don't let that advantage like become a disadvantage. You have the advantage of experience. Don't take the fact that you've written this exam 3 times or 4 times or 2 times for granted, that the third time is just like, it's not Oski, I've been there before, done that. No, you have the advantage of experience, so use it. If this is your first time, make friends with people that have taken these exams before. Make friends with people that have passed. Let them give you in-depth knowledge. If you're really inquisitive, you can watch like my videos. My whole journey is on this channel, and it's for people like you, so that you don't make these same exact mistakes that I made. Do I advise on observership? Yes. Do I advise that you do only observerships and go and sit for the exams? No, you will not pass the exams. You need an observership. You need to join a tutorial that pushes you. And you, honestly, I share my journey so you don't have it at the back of your mind there's only one tutorial that will save you. No. If you join one, it's not working, join another one. Or you might end up joining 2 tutorials. I know people that are using 2 tutorials because one does the MCQ portion better and one does the OSCE portion better. So again, doctors, again, I honestly, that's all that's coming to my mind right now. If there's anything else that I would love to share with you guys, I'm really running late already, but if there's anything else that I would love to share with you guys, I will most likely maybe add in the description box or in the comment section. If you have any questions, any clarifications, any you know, things you need me to answer, or if you want me to make a video like this or something like this, then please also let me know in the comment section and I'll get right into it. For right now, I have to be at my induction ceremony. You guys take care of yourself. I pray that if you're writing these exams again, that all things work together, that lines fall in pleasant places for you, that it makes sense in the end, and that you succeed. Good success is your portion in Jesus' name. Amen. Peace and lots of love.
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, go.